Welcome back to another episode of the UIS Coaches Show. I'm Michael Leotta, joined as always by the head coach Olivia. Coach, thanks for joining us. Always appreciate your time here. Prairie Stars this weekend hosted McKendree and Maryville. 0-2 record this weekend, Coach, and two games really kind of tough, emotional, close games to the end. Two games we kind of wanted to have but just weren't able to get. Let's kind of start with that first one against McKendree. 77-70, a loss. This one was kind of eerily similar to the loss that we had earlier this year, where we played really, really well for 3 quarters and 1 quarter kind of got us. And this time it was the 3rd quarter. Tell us a little bit about this matchup and kind of a recap from Thursday's game.
Yeah, we knew this week was a big week. We felt like if we got one of the two that we had a chance to get in the conference tournament. And both of them, I thought that we played well. I thought we executed at different times. I don't know that we played 40 minutes in either one of the games, but a little bit closer on Saturday. On Thursday, I thought we came out with a really good energy. And we competed, and that first quarter wasn't necessarily pretty. I think it was 12-12. And so, I'd like to score a few more points than that, but we grinded it out. And we had ourselves where we wanted to be kind of going into that 3rd quarter. And truthfully, I felt like we just stopped playing defense. They pushed the pace and they did some good things in transition, and we really struggled to match up. And one of the things that you don't always think about is in that second half, our defense is on the other end. In the first half, we are able to talk through a lot of things. The bench is able to help with quite a few things, and I just didn't think that we adjusted well in that 3rd quarter. We tried to be really pointed about the things we wanted to be better at and not just maintain from the first half, and we really struggled with that. We've struggled in the first quarters, and 3rd quarters are predominantly our worst quarters. And so we talked about that a lot going into Saturday's game. And, I was proud of our kids. I thought that we battled. I thought we did some things even on Thursday really, really well. We kept our composure probably better than we have all season in terms of officiating, in terms of things not quite going our ways with just the baskets going in. And so I think we've definitely responded in that way in this part of the season.
Nice. And we'll talk a little bit more about this McKendree game in the middle of it. McKendree did get a technical foul. They were not happy with some officiating. Of course, that goes with every single game. But from a coaching perspective and just kind of, from a fan's perspective, when you're watching something like that happen, right? When somebody gets teed up on the other side, that has a tendency to change the game a little bit, right? It's probably going to have a little bit of an influence. As a coach, do you do anything on your side to your team to tell them, hey, it might be called differently? Do you do anything as far as your own job working officials? Or is it just something where you just kind of stay in your own lane and go?
I try to just stay in my own lane, and maybe that's not I'm still a young coach. Maybe I still got to learn some of the tricks of the trade. But I think especially with where our team is right now, I'm preaching to them that we've got to stay composed, that we've got to not react to other coaches or officiating or other players. And I thought we did a really good job of that on Thursday. It didn't go our way necessarily. I thought we took our foot off the gas. I thought that they really ramped it up coming out. They threw some things at us defensively that we hadn't necessarily prepared for. And so I think all those things considered, I do think that we did a great job of keeping our composure. And losing that big of a lead in the 3rd quarter, we still found a way to fight in the 4th quarter. And I think we were able to even get the lead back at one point in time. And those are all things that are showing growth. That's a game that even though we did win 3 quarters at their place, I think that we lost by less this time. We've had improvements from the beginning of the season. And you'd like to get over those moral victories, but you also don't want to forget about them.
Yeah, absolutely. But like you said, it was great for your team to be able to kind of be great at what they can control, right? Eliminate the rest and still be able to, focus and execute, make a good game. Unfortunately, a 77-70 loss, but like you said, I think you guys played pretty well in that game, and I think that carried over to Saturday. 81-68 loss. I don't think that score was really indicative of that game. That game was close and tight throughout, back and forth, and Maryville hit a few threes late that kind of separated and made that 13-point margin look a little bit, bigger than it was. But I thought your team did a pretty good job in a lot of areas. What did you think about Saturday?
I thought we executed defensively for, honestly, probably 40 minutes. They just hit shots in the 4th quarter. They're 6 of 6 from 3, 48% from 3 for the game. That's hard to defend, to the point that I thought that we contested. There were some that were open, but I thought we contested some of them really, really well. I know Sahara Murphy was like, what do you want me to do? And I'm like, just keep doing it. You kind of try to play the statistics there a little bit. And some of the things that they executed on are past where we're at right now. We made the first defensive stop, we made the first defensive read, and they got to that second, third option, and we just aren't always there yet. I thought that we did a great job of really trying to play our defense and trusting what it can do and trusting, hey, okay, we all know where we're rotating now. Now we've got to just trust that just a little bit more past that first maybe shot that we're able to contest. For us to keep them to what they shot from 2, I think that means that we did a great job of walling up and making sure that we weren't fouling and making every shot tough inside the lane. That might be our best game in terms of shooting percentage from 2. And so against a good team, that did execute and did all of those things. And it really, it's a bummer because I thought our kids played hard. I thought that they executed. I thought that they stayed the course. Again, I thought that they stayed calm with officiating or coaches or other players. And to not get the win, that's a bummer in that game because it did feel like a lot of things went well.
Yeah, it might have just been bad timing, honestly, because Maryville on Thursday night in Indy, I think, hit 13 threes.
Yeah.
So, kind of running into a team that really was almost like throwing a beach ball into an ocean right now from 3. I mean, they were really confident, feeling good about it. But I totally agree with you. That's the same kind of thing I felt from this game. Is I felt like that, top to bottom, 0 to 40, you guys were probably some of your best basketball that you played this year. We wrap up the homestand this Thursday against an Indianapolis team. It's Local Heroes Night here at Track. This was a team that we got a big road win early in January against, which was kind of started the streak a little bit for this program and this season. They're a little bit of a different team, though. They are playing some better basketball. They played a lot of good teams in the league really close and some tight games. I'm sure you started to look into them a little bit. What are you seeing from UIndy that they're doing now, and what's going to be key going into Thursday night?
I think anytime that you've got a new coach and they've got a new coach as well, there's some learning curve, and so I think that they're probably hitting their stride more than they were when we played. At that point in time, we both were scrounging for wins, and we still are to some extent. But I think both teams are a little bit more aware of who they are. We watched that game, and while we won it, I don't know that we necessarily executed defensively the way that we wanted to. I do think we're a different team on the defensive end. I think that was one of the first games that we learned to really run in transition and what that looked like. And so it'll be interesting if we can do that again. This is the first time that we're playing a team that we beat the first time around. And so figuring out how do we there's a level of adjusting, but also not changing things until they know how to beat you, until they know how to, you don't want to change things when it worked last time. And so you've got to make sure that to some extent you're executing on that same game plan, but that you are ready to react shortly into the game as well.
Nice, great stuff. And you mentioned earlier, and kind of caught me a little bit, with being on what side in the defense and everything. How do you make adjustments with that? When your team's on the other side defensively and the communication, what's the adjustment for that? Is that some leadership on the team, being able to talk a little bit more? Tell us a little bit about that. How does that improve?
Yeah, for us, some of it is like not very many of them have even been through a season this long. We've got 2 of them that have really played for, 25, 30 game season. And so we're pretty late in the season at this point. And so it's understanding what it's like in this marathon of a basketball season, and understanding what your body feels like at this point and how much extra effort that takes in the first quarter, in the third quarter to get yourself going, to get yourself prepared for those moments. And I thought on Saturday we did a good job of that, but also understanding how much it takes from a being vocal part of it, and making sure that we're taking space with our voice, not just with our bodies, and what defense looks like at the college level and what that expectation is. And so a lot of that is still just learning, trying to use the few days of practice that we have in a way that can be effective, but also understanding the mileage that we have on our legs at this point.
Yeah, it's fascinating because a lot of coaches see the advantage of being in your team on offense in that second half from there, and you're almost looking at it saying, hey, that was a disadvantage for us. It's almost better on defense. So kind of caught me a little bit there, but some great insight from you, Coach. Appreciate that. Also, in between this weekend on Friday night, you had a lot going on. Night to Shine was, happened on Friday night. Can you give us a little bit of recap? How did everything go with that?
Yeah, McKenna Yeager and Alicia McDaniel went over there with me as well, and the night was great. We've talked about it a few times, prom for special needs people. And the whole event is awesome. They do a red carpet where everybody gets very excited as they walk down it, and they get their their claps and cheers, and they've got karaoke, and I know McKenna spent a lot of time with her buddy in the karaoke room.
Nice.
And then they've got some dancing going on and games and all different types of activities. So regardless of what that person is into, there's something that makes it special for them. And so I know
Awesome.
that those two walked out of there feeling very fulfilled, and probably made the entire weekend worth it for them, regardless of the wins and losses.
Yeah, that's great stuff. It's always great to see our student athletes and our coaches into there. Hopefully next year we can get some more people to come, because it's such a great cause. And like you said, just a really good feeling walking out of there doing a great thing. So, Coach, we appreciate your time today. For Olivia Lett, I'm Michael Leotta. This has been the UIS Coaches Show.